Here's three price scenarios that I'm looking at when it comes to Beam, maybe in an event where, let's say, there is a fully fledged type of altcoin season, but even though nothing I say is financial advice and even though nothing is a guarantee, I do want to take a look at these scenarios nonetheless. Like, for instance, my first scenario that I want to take a look at is 20 cents. Now, that's around a 27.7x from here, so nearly a 28x, and market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, would be nearly 10 billion. Now, why wouldn't this be something that I would find too surprising if, let's say, it maybe happened? It's because I'm a fan of Beam, and let me explain why I think that the fundamentals, at least in my mind, I think are pretty decent. Beam is heavily focused on blockchain gaming, and more specifically, it's an open source blockchain specialized for gaming. Now, one of the main components of Beam is the Beam SDK, and SDK stands for Software Development Kit. Now, why do I think it's pretty cool? It's because supposedly this allows game developers to choose from a variety of tools that can be used to feel and structure their in-game blockchain elements. Now, when it comes to blockchain gaming, some people may be thinking, okay, who cares about that? A lot of the hype kind of felt like it disappeared ever since the 2021 bull run was over, right? For altcoins at that time. However, to me, I'm still a big fan of blockchain gaming because even according to Grandview Research, the blockchain gaming market is expected to be worth over $300 billion by 2030. So I find that very impressive. We have to take a look at how Beam actually has more to it, I think, arguably, than just being focused on blockchain gaming. Like, for instance, we will see that when it comes to the Beam ecosystem, there is something called BeamSwap, which is a decentralized exchange. There's the Beam Layer 0 bridge, which is a bridging solution to transfer tokens between Beam and other blockchains. There's Sphere, an NFT marketplace, and also there's something called BeamOS, a portal for exploring tools and apps on the chain. And there's also the Beam Block Explorer, a tracking platform for all Beam transactions and statistics. So again, I don't think Beam is just only focused on one thing. Again, it's kind of diverse actually if we take a look at the ecosystem. But even besides that, we have to also take a look at what created, or should I say launched Beam in the first place. It's something called Merit Circle DAO. Now, if we take a look at Merit Circle, why does having that DAO aspect, I think, make it pretty cool? It's because a DAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Now, if we take a look at it, again, a decentralized autonomous organization is an entity that is designed to be fully autonomous without a central point of control. For instance, the rules of a DAO are established by a core team of committee members and is executed through smart contracts. And allegedly, to obtain voting power or membership in a DAO, users are typically required to own its governance token. And again, if we take a look at supposedly anyone who holds Beam can vote. However, even besides that, when I take all of that into account, arguably at the price of 20 cents, it's not something that might necessarily surprise me if we do ever see it during a fully fledged type of altcoin season. Now, the second scenario I want to take a look at is 23 cents. That would be nearly a 32x from here, and market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, would be nearly 11.4 billion. But why wouldn't this be something that would surprise me? It's because, again, that market cap right there, again, still under 11.5 billion. It's not something that I would find too outlandish. Like, for instance, Shiba Inu back in 2021 reached a market cap of around 40 billion, and we also saw Dogecoin that year reach over $80 billion in market cap. I'm not saying that it's going to be more popular than that, but keep in mind, Dogecoin and Shiba Inu reached that years ago. So what could it maybe do during a fully fledged type of altcoin season if we do ever see one during this cycle? You know what I mean? If it did better than that, maybe it wouldn't surprise me. So if, let's say, Beam achieved a glimpse of what they did years ago, right, it wouldn't be something that would be too surprising, but again, only time will tell. Now, the third and final price scenario I do want to take a look at when it comes to Beam is the idea of maybe 25 cents, nearly a 35x from here, and market cap at that point would be nearly 12.4 billion, considering current circulating supply. However, to me, why wouldn't this surprise me? It's because I actually like the factors right now for altcoins, generally speaking, when compared to back in 2021. Let me explain why I think so. Because back in the peak of the 2021 bull run, around 300 million crypto owners. Now, supposedly, there's over 600 million, and allegedly this is more than ever before in history. And keep in mind, we have this many right now, which I find very fascinating because we haven't seen, for instance, Bitcoin reach even 150 grand or 200 or 250 or 300 or something like that, right? We haven't seen Ethereum at 10 grand. And arguably, I don't think we've seen a fully fledged type of altcoin season yet, maybe during this cycle. And we already have that many crypto owners currently. So imagine if, let's say, the factors didn't look better. Let's say Bitcoin reached greater heights. Let's say there was a fully fledged type of altcoin season. If there is like way more crypto owners at that point, like let's say maybe around 700 million as opposed to, over 600 million currently, it wouldn't be something that would surprise me. So I just like the factors right now. I also take a look at the Ethereum ETF, the Bitcoin ETF. I'm just a bigger fan of what maybe this altcoin season could be as opposed to back then, but only time will tell. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, what is the timeline? Now, to me, I am unable to look in the future, right? The only thing I can do is the way I take a look at it, look in the past and the present. But I do want to take a look at the past in this case because I think it does leave a little bit of clues to me. Doesn't mean it's ever going to be 100%, but it's something that I do look into. Like, for instance, historically speaking, usually as a worst case scenario, altcoins typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now, 18 months from the last Bitcoin halving event would actually mean October this year because the last one happened in April of last year, in 2024. Now, does it mean altcoins are going to do, kind of this amazing thing at that time? I mean, it's not a surefire thing, in my opinion. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen at that time if we do ever see one, because that is based off history. It could be different this time around. Like, who knows if, let's say, maybe were to even happen, let's say maybe November, December, Q1 of next year, let's say around January, February, or March, or whatever, right, in 2026. And all of that is beyond my control. But what is it within my control? That's myself. So I'm just going to stay patient, dollar cost average hold, and I just wait. That's it. I mean, that's all I'm doing. Personally, the way you take a look at it is that I'm preparing for a moment in time. Beam does something maybe, as opposed to trying to find the perfect moment, which I don't think I'll ever find the perfect moment. So I'm just preparing, holding, and just waiting. That's it. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.